Kelvin, good to see you. Lots to talk about as always. Let's start with pre-season. We're 2-3 weeks into pre-season. Players currently out in Spain working hard.
Yeah, it looks like it. Looks very hot out there. I never made it out there this year, and I think surviving that heat would have been one of the challenges. But for everything I've heard, it's been very, very positive. Good chance for the lads to get together and bond, and Kevin to get his ideas across. And it's been a very different approach to pre-season, I think, the last few in terms of the workload the players have gone through, and it's been very interesting how that's sort of gone into the games. I've been very surprised how hard the players have worked just before games. I think Kevin did explain it to me in terms of how he's hoping that this will make them much more robust as a group and individually, as in terms of the injury problems that we had. It's not focused on the results. It's not necessarily focused on the performances. It's more about minutes, minutes in the, and getting time in the players' legs, and just getting them physically ready for the season. So hopefully that does translate in the direction that we want to go.
And in terms of recruitment, we've seen 11 new faces in so far, the most recent of which Jordan Thornley this week, of course, but still some more work to do there. Yeah, and definitely
in the up front, I think everybody accepts that we need a couple more players up there. I think this summer has taken over the conversation from the East Stand. To be honest, it's normally people ask me when the East Stand's going to get finished, and obviously now that we have finished that. The next conversation is when we sign a striker. So and listen, we're beholden to we give the playing department a lot of elbow room in terms of the within the budget. They're going to find the right ones, and I think Kevin and the group have got a good record at the moment in the transfer window. So I think we trust them to make sure that, and as a club, we'll bring in the best players that we can.
The pitch looking in fantastic condition behind you, and that's a sure sign that football's back at Sixfields next week and the first home pre-season game on Tuesday.
Yeah, well, I think they started doing the lines today and yesterday, so our ground staff do a wonderful job, always do a wonderful job, and we're really pleased that the pitch has come back again like it has. So it'll be good to be back here on Tuesday and kicking the ball around again.
On the heels of the game on Tuesday is the Sam Hoskins testimonial game against Birmingham on the 26th, and hopeful of a big turnout to recognise a fantastic servant.
Yeah, Sam's been fantastic for this football club. Actually, Sam is obviously the only player to have been here when we took over. And I actually remember talking to Chris Wilder about him, just recently, but also way back when we bought the club. And he talked about Sam and how exciting Sam was, and etc. And Sam's had his ups and downs a little bit in terms of throughout his, but anyone does in 10 years. But he's been the last sort of 4 years of Sam have been absolutely fantastic. And you look back at the promotion seasons, Sam's played in all those promotions, and managers have always picked him, and etc. etc. So and he's a good kid. He deserves everything he's got, and he works hard, and he's good in the changing room. So we're really proud of Sam. We're really pleased to have him here, and we look forward to a really good event.
And fans coming down for either of the games at Sixfields next week will notice some changes over the summer, some ongoing changes, and the start of work outside of Cars Bar on the Brian Lomax fan zone.
Yeah, no, again, it's positive, direction. It's positive movement. I really like the FAB and the FAB and what the FAB have done and Tom has done with all the fans involved, and it's really good to see things like the fan zones. I think they're being installed in August, being manufactured now, and Martin Church is. We say thank you to Martin, and his building firm that have helped out. And Martin's been at the club for a very, very long time, and he's really he's always been helpful, and he's always given everything that he can as a director, as an associate director, just as a fan. He's been fantastic. So he's putting something out there that hopefully that Brian will be proud of, and as a club we can utilise, and it's just the relationship between the fans and the club. It's really positive. We can all, everyone talks about doing stuff, and everyone talks about fans doing things, and this is a prime example of what can be achieved. It's quite interesting. very good friend of mine that I'm involved with the charity with is the chairman of the West Ham FAB, and he was also chairman of. I think he was co-chair of the Hammers Trust, etc. for a while. But I've just listened to a podcast that he did with Kieran Maguire, and it's really interesting about the positive impact FABs can have on clubs, and they were really born out of the football regulator that we might talk about, but they're really born out of that a little bit, and the ideas behind that from government. But I think they've evolved, and I think it's really, really positive that the impact they can have in terms of communication, and obviously as a club we've actually taken it a step further, or actually we've begun with a step further in terms of Tom's position, in terms of the independent director on the club's board. I'm not sure there's that many of those anymore, so we truly believe in that fan engagement, and it's very important, and Andy talks about it on that podcast as well, and it's hopefully it'll be a positive step.
And on the subject of the fan advisory board and fan engagement, the football regulator recent vote to make the bill law. Now I know you and we as a club have been a long-standing supporter of the football regulator, so good news that this will finally happen.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time coming. It's gone through a couple of governments, but fair play, and I think it was bipartisan in the sense of I think it got quite a few votes in the end. As I've always said, I said from the start, it was a shame that football couldn't, solve some of its issues themselves. But I think it's important now that we look at it and we take the positives from there. I met with Mike Reeder and Lucy Rigby, our local MPs, about it, not just recently, just before the summer, and we talked about some of the issues that it's facing, and we've been quite involved as a club, quietly in the background. We've been quite involved with helping some of the the thoughts that go behind some of the information coming to the regulator, and even with the EFL, and we're quite active with the EFL in terms of the legislation that came through. So I think it's a good place for the club to be supportive of this, and as a game, I think it will be a positive step. Well, I hope it will be a positive step in the right direction.
Another sure sign that the season's on its way is the reveal of the new home kit. Early signs are that's been well received and looking at some strong sales.
Yeah, it was a bit different this year, I think, because of landing times for the kits, and I think James and the team with Wendy launched the third kit first, which was different. Whether it was right or wrong, you can always argue, but I think it was, it's always good to change it up. And I didn't like the third kit when I first saw it, but I actually really like it now. It's now, having seen the lads playing it, and I think it's a nice kit. And then this kit, the first team kit, is I think a nice sharp kit, and everyone's going to have opinions, and I've got certain opinions on certain bits of it, but I think overall it's a really sharp kit, and it's good to see. I like the way that we launch this stuff now in terms of using everybody within the club, all the teams and fans as well, and I think that's really important. And then we've got a second kit to sort of show off as well. When I think we're playing. They don't tell me everything here, but I think we're playing in the home kit on Tuesday and Saturday, and then obviously when we go to Wigan, we'll probably play in the away kit. So hopefully fans like it and will support, in purchasing. It's always great to see. I actually got the former, I think it's vice chairman of Crawley, text me the other day, and he said it's amazing. I'm in Gatwick, and I'm just seeing someone walk past in a cobbler's kit, so that's always good to hear and good to see. So it was, and actually the most impressive picture I've seen for a while is the family that were in Disney, and everyone had a kit on, and they took a picture with all the kit. So that was good.
We stood here in the fantastic new LCS stand, been wonderfully well received by supporters and sponsors alike. The next part of that process, of course, is the planning for the land around Six Fields. What's the current position with that?
Yeah, no, the planning's in. I think probably most people who are interested have looked at it, and it's been very positive. It's been very positively received. It's been validated, so now we're in the statutory period. Technically, it's 13 weeks. Does it always take 13 weeks? Probably not. There's a lot. It's a big development. There's a lot going on within that, and I'm not overly involved in that. Our planning consultants are dealing with it. PLC, a very professional organisation, one of the leading planners in the area. So, and a lot of people have been involved in helping in that, and it's very important. It's quite an interesting process, really, because it's very important for the football club. Whilst it's a separate piece of land, in terms of, because the club owns it and is part of it, it's very important for us to be able to generate the revenue to not just to pay, not just to fund the East Stand, fund the money that's been put into the club, interest free, I might add, and fund the future of the club going forward. It's very important, and I probably ask, in fairness, I probably ask supporters to take a bit of time to go online and support it on the planning portal. Like anything, there'll always be a few people that don't like it for different reasons. That, in reality, because we've been working at it a long time, and because we've spoken to a lot of professionals, and we've been to a whole lot of communication. We've spoken to the council, we've spoken to neighbours, we've spoken to the professional consultants, we've spoken to developers, spoken to real estate people, etc., etc. We've looked at this so many different ways, and I think what they ended up putting together was a very robust plan, in terms of it's all part of the local plan. It's what the area needs, in terms of, it's not necessarily what people might think the area needs, but it's what the research says that the area needs, and it will generate the most money for the football club. So they're the important parts, really, and it's been through the pre-planning application with the council, and received a bunch of ticks from there. Had the public consultation, received a bunch of ticks from there, and so we don't necessarily see it being from a planning perspective at all. We don't see it being, we would hope that people can see, the planners will see that it's a sensible piece of plan, and it's thoroughly researched and thought out. So it would be great for fans to go online if they do take an interest to support the application, because you can do that. To go online, I'm sure you'll share a link or something for our fans, because it would be nice to see. One of the things we've said for a while is if the club is able to secure the land, we'll build the stand, and then we'll put a planning application in, and I think we've done that. And as a club, we're proud of the fact that we followed through on what we said we were going to do, and it's all for the benefit of the football club. So, I'm not sure what there is to I'm not sure what there is to complain about. So we think we'll get a tremendous level of support, and we have done so far. So we're excited for the future of the club, and we're excited to be able to progress that. It's not a short-term thing. Even if we get planning, it's not like all of a sudden buildings are going to be popping up in the next day or so. That again will be well thought out, well researched, and financed. We're going to have to, if we do decide to build it ourselves, we're going to have to find some money to do that, and that's not cheap. The sort of level of building there, you'd need to find significant amount of money. So we're not talking about. This isn't like sort of a few $100,000 here and there. This is substantial money. Even planning's cost. The planning's cost probably close to £1 million. So it's all pretty substantial, but it'll be very positive for the club. There's a lot of benefits for the club, for the area, and for just Northampton in general.
Thanks, Kelvin. Here's to a good season for the club, both on and off the pitch.
Yeah, no, we're looking forward to it. I think, staying up last year, which probably went against quite a few expectations, and it's like anything at this time of year, isn't it, Gareth? Where you lose a pre-season game, we're going to be terrible. We've had it I always look at football fans and any supporters as you get different types of people and different expectations all the time. And so you'll have some that will be very negative and we're going to get relegated, straight away, no chance. And you have some that are very positive and see us in the promotion places. So, and then we kind of sit somewhere in between. So it's very important for us to, and as I always say, try and win as many football matches as we can. And Kevin has done a good job of getting a group together so far, and seeing the way they've been working in pre-season is very encouraging, and I think that's important. It's not going to be perfect. Football is never a straight line, but seeing what they're doing, seeing the respect they've got for Kevin and Colin and the rest of the staff is really encouraging to see. And I haven't been up there too much, but the couple of times I've been up there, the level of intensity is what fans would hope for and expect. So that's a real positive.